years. She had never once backed away from one. But Storm was different in a way she couldn't quite name. At nearly 20 pounds, he moved like a storm cloud rolling slowly across a room. Inevitable, unhurried, impossible to look away from. She wrote one word in his intake file that afternoon: dangerous. And for 18 months, that single word followed him everywhere he went. But nobody had thought to warn him about the day a tiny gray bundle would arrive at that same front door. A kitten so small she could fit inside the hollow of a single open palm. And what happened the moment Storm saw her for the very first time? No one in that house was prepared for. We have to go back to the beginning. Storm had arrived at Maplewood Animal Rescue as a 2-year-old stray. Nobody knew where he had come from. Nobody wanted to ask. He was too big, too quiet, too impossibly still for a place that was always loud and always moving. Volunteers kept their distance without ever being told to. Adopters would walk in, see him sitting inside his enclosure, massive, unblinking, filling every inch of available space, and quietly change direction before they made it halfway across the room. There was a young couple in his 3rd week. They said they were open to any cat. They lasted 40 seconds inside his room before they asked to see something smaller. For 18 months, Storm sat in that shelter. Every morning, the same metal enclosure. Every evening, the same fluorescent lights humming steadily above him. He didn't throw himself against the bars the way some cats did. He didn't yowl for attention. He didn't beg. He simply sat and watched, like he was waiting for something only he could see coming. The shelter's director, Linda, had worked in rescue for 11 years. She had never once kept a cat for herself, until the morning she found Storm sitting with his back pressed flat against the far corner of his enclosure, one massive white paw resting against the metal like he was trying to hold on to something that simply wasn't there. She stood outside that cage for a very long time. She just knew. She drove him home that same afternoon. No formal paperwork, no waiting period, just a carrier, a quiet drive through the November cold, and a house that had no idea what was about to walk through its front door. And that house had no idea what was coming. Storm settled in slowly, entirely on his own terms. He chose the highest shelf in the living room and claimed it without ceremony. He sat up there like a gargoyle, watching everything, measuring everything, quietly deciding what belonged and what didn't. Linda's friends came over the first weekend and spent most of the visit standing close to the wall, answering his gaze with nervous laughter. One neighbor spotted him through the window and let out a startled scream. Storm didn't react to any of it. He simply turned his great head and looked at whoever was speaking like they were the strange one in the room. But Linda started to notice things the others couldn't see. The way he moved himself to the front door every time she left the house and stayed there. The way he kept one eye half open when she came home late. The way he shifted closer, never touching, never demanding anything, whenever her voice got tight on a difficult call. He wasn't dangerous, he was watchful, he was loyal in a language no one had ever taken the time to learn. I see you're still here and you haven't subscribed yet. I won't pretend that doesn't sting a little. Hit the button right now. These stories only reach the people who need them most because of you. Because what happened the night that tiny kitten finally arrived at Linda's door, little did she know it would become the story she told for the rest of her life. Then, one Thursday evening in late October, Linda got a call from the rescue. A litter of kittens had just come in. 3 had been placed almost immediately. 1 hadn't. A tiny gray and white female, 4 weeks old, just under a pound, failing fast. The foster family had panicked. She wasn't eating, she wasn't gaining weight, she wasn't responding to anything they tried. She needed something different, something more than what they were able to give her. Linda hung up the phone. She looked across the room at Storm. Storm looked back at her from his shelf. Neither of them moved for a long, strange moment, and then Linda reached for her keys. She brought the kitten home at 9:47 that evening. She had already prepared a separate room, a heating pad, a soft bed, a low gate across the doorway. She had a plan, a careful, staged introduction. Days of separation, supervised meetings only. None of it went the way she had prepared for. What she would find on the other side of that door, she would spend months trying to put into words. Storm heard the carrier the moment Linda's key turned in the lock. He came down from his shelf in one silent motion and was already waiting at the door before she had fully stepped inside. Linda moved the carrier slightly behind her. Storm sat down directly in front of her. He didn't hiss, he didn't circle, he made no sound. He simply sat there, completely still, and waited. Linda set the carrier gently on the floor. She unlatched the door. The kitten, 4 weeks old, barely real, unsteady on legs that barely held her, stumbled slowly onto the hardwood floor. She took 3 small, uncertain steps, and then she walked directly into Storm, pressed her tiny gray face against his massive chest, and went completely still. Storm looked down at her for a moment that felt very long. He didn't flinch. He didn't step back. He lowered his great head slowly, and he began to groom her. Long, deliberate strokes, gentle in a way Linda hadn't known that enormous body was capable of. Like something inside him had been waiting 18 months for exactly this. For something small enough, for something that finally, truly needed him. Linda stood in the doorway and did not move for a long time. She had seen everything this work had to offer. She had not seen this. That night was 7 months ago now. The kitten, who Linda named Pebble for the way she fit so perfectly inside a closed hand, weighs nearly 4 pounds today. She follows Storm everywhere, room to room, shelf to shelf. She has learned to sleep pressed against his side, one tiny paw draped across his foreleg, like she is making certain he doesn't go anywhere without her. And Storm, that 20-pound Maine Coon that 2 different shelter workers had written the word dangerous beside, has not once left her side. Not once. Linda thinks about that word sometimes, dangerous. She thinks about the couple who walked out in 40 seconds. She thinks about what Pebble's story would have looked like without him in it, about how many others are sitting behind that same word right now, waiting. For someone willing to read past the very first line, because the ones who look like they need nothing from you are often carrying the most to give. They just need someone patient enough to stay. From that night forward, nothing in that house was ever the same, and neither was Linda. She had spent 11 years believing she was doing the rescuing. Standing in that hallway, she finally understood it had always been the other way around. Some animals spend years waiting to show you who they really are. Storm had been waiting 18 months. Do you think a cat like Storm is truly dangerous, or is that just a word we reach for when we haven't taken the time to understand them yet? Tell me in the comments.